Earlier today, I sat down with Amazon CEO Andy Jassy and asked him about the immense demands of artificial intelligence, like computing power and grid power, and how tech giants like Amazon are planning to meet all those demands.
It is so unprecedented how much compute is being consumed right now. You just have to only look at how much, how much power is needed, how many data centers are being built. There is the AI labs are consuming gobs and gobs of compute right now. And so those AI labs believe they have opportunities if they train models very expansively to keep changing the intelligence of these models. So they need a lot of compute, but they need money for the compute. And so they're trying to find ways to fund that compute. And I'd say a lot of the companies who provide that compute want to serve those customers and then have opportunities to also invest in those companies as those companies are looking to find ways to fund what they're doing. And I think those companies are impressive companies. So I think when you look at a company like Anthropic, a company like OpenAI, I mean, these are unusual companies who've been building amazing models for 10 plus years and are reshaping the way people use applications. And so I just think it's a function of the time where tons of compute are being asked for. They need ways to fund it. Companies have opportunities to invest in companies. Those companies are impressive companies, and you're just seeing some of that. But I don't know if that'll continue or not.
Do you think it ends well?
I think it could end well. I mean, I'm saying anytime you make substantial investments, if you look at the history of M&A and investments, not all of them are successful, and the hit rate is pretty variable. So I think whether the investments end well or not, we'll have to see. But I do think the companies that we're talking about just in the last few minutes are impressive companies.
Well, OpenAI, for instance, I think they've signed deals to build out $1.4 trillion in infrastructure just in the last several months. That's pretty ambitious. You think it's realistic based on the demand you see?
Well, it is ambitious. I agree with you, and I would say that they are ambitious, and I think they're ambitious and they're forward-thinking, and I know that they believe they need quite a bit of compute to train the models the way they believe changes what's possible. And I don't know the details of all those deals. Sometimes when I get a chance to look at them, I have a harder time making sense of them all, and I just don't know which ones are guaranteed to spend those amounts and which are options to spend those amounts. But I know that the companies believe they need that much compute.
Yeah. Let's talk about data centers, because that's something that you guys are also on the forefront. You just signed a deal with Rio Tinto to lock up more of the copper that they're taking out of the ground. It's not just copper, it's electricity, it's all of these things that there's a huge rising demand. Do we have the ability to meet that demand? And what else are you doing to kind of make sure you're getting it?
Well, we have not had the power has been short.
Yeah.
In the U.S., around the world, there is a power shortage. I think that it is better than it was 18 months ago, and still not as plentiful as we all need. I mean, I think everyone would tell you, while it's better than 18 months ago, we still could be fulfilling more demand if we had more capacity. And so we have tried every which way we can to work with different communities and different municipalities and different technology providers to enable more power. And we've done unique things on the nuclear side. We've invested in some SMR capabilities. We have been the largest corporate purchaser of renewable energy for the last 5 years. Wherever we have an initiative with water where we give back more water than we take in all the communities in which we operate. And so we're doing everything we possibly can to help try to enable more power. And, and we want to do it. We don't expect other people to pay for us. We expect to fund the power that we need. And we create a lot of good jobs in the communities in which we're building a lot of data centers, and we intend to continue to do so.
When you say you don't expect other people to pay for it, that's been an issue that President Trump has kind of been talking about writ large. He is kind of pushing back on a lot of companies to make sure that consumers aren't paying more for this. What do you guys do on that level?
Well, we spend so much money on power, Becky. We're spending a lot of money in infrastructure. We have always paid our own way. We've always expected to pay our own way.